Well, all right, people. So here we are in day 45 of the lockdown. 45 days of this lockdown, which hasn't probably even there's no evidence that it's even really helped at all. So here we are. And my question is, will this lockdown ever end? And for a lot of states, at least they're beginning to reopen, although very slowly. Um, but also a lot of states are still going on with this perpetual indefinite lockdown. And this is very hard on everybody, very hard on every business that has to stay closed. Apparently, these governors don't understand that businesses have to actually make money to stay in business. They actually have to bring in revenue, and not every business is laying on a pile of cash, even though that's what many of these crazy people won't want you to believe and want you to hate corporations. Not every business is lying on a pile of cash, especially small businesses. So when is this lockdown going to end? Well, we don't know. A lot of governors seem to be very happy to stay in lockdown, very happy to tell everybody to not go outside, to shut down the economy. Um, so who knows how long this is going to last? I am sick of it. I am tired of it. Um, and should we just go back to normal? Well, maybe not yet, but it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like how it is now, with everything being closed, with everything being locked down. I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy. We're not taking into account the economic impact that this lockdown has had on many businesses, and the economic impact might be worse than the impact from the actual coronavirus. Um, and even though new developments have come out about the coronavirus over the last few weeks, like the death rate being way lower than expected, like the infection rate being probably 10, 20, 30 times higher than expected, we still are doing the same exact thing, and those issues are not being addressed and not being taken into account when these governors are putting in these stay at home orders. I mean, it's nuts. And people that are under 50 years old, people that are healthy, are not as affected as people who are older. So I don't understand why it's a blanket lockdown. They should really take into account geographic location, the ages of everybody. I'm in Michigan, so that's what state I'm in. I'm in Michigan, and our governor Whitmer, who's become pretty famous over these last few weeks for her. A lot of people say she's doing a great job. A lot of people say she's, being a draconian governor. Um, she has put in some really strict orders regarding some stupid things like, well, you can go out on the lake in a canoe, but you can't go out in a motorboat, or you can't travel between residents. So a lot of Michiganders have two homes. They have two homes. A lot of people have like an up north cottage or something like that. So to say that you can't travel between residences is very stupid, very dumb. Just a lot of stupid rules. Um, and by the way, it's not like these states that have put in these stay-at-home orders versus states that have not have been doing a great job. I mean, look at New York. People are praising Cuomo, but New York has had the most deaths by far, the most cases by far. So why are people praising him? I don't know. Um, Somebody says they hate virtual classes. I mean, yeah, that's another thing too. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of college. I mean, I went through college, I graduated college. I'm in the private sector now. Unfortunately, my job was furloughed for the time being because of these stupid lockdown orders. Um, but and I actually do work at a college campus now. That's my job, and they're talking now that classes are not going to resume until the fucking 2021. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, let's just shut everything down until fucking two years. Let's just stay in this perpetual lockdown for 2 years and fuck up the economy a little bit more. I mean, it's crazy. They're already saying, oh, we're probably going to do online classes in 2021 predominantly. I mean, the university's still going to be open, so I'll probably go back to work. But the fact that they're going to keep the shit closed forever is ridiculous. I mean, r- there's risks in life. That's part of life is risks. You go out in your car, there's a risk that you might die, but we don't say, well, let's just stop driving cars. Um, and I don't get why they're praising these governors for doing these stay-at-home orders when these stay-at-home orders, there's no evidence that they're working. There's no evidence. I mean, New York City has like a 20% infection rate. I mean, this virus seems to be spreading regardless of these orders. And they're saying now that based on these antibody tests that the virus is 10, 20, 30, 40 times more prevalent than we thought about it. So instead of 1 million people being infected, it's probably more like tens of millions. Um, or maybe not that high, but definitely many more times people are infected than they say it is. And they're talking about, oh, it's a phased reopening. Oh yeah, phase, whatever the fuck that means. That can mean anything. That could be very slow. It could take place over a few months. I mean, and the media is the worst of them all too, because they're the ones propping up this fear. They're the ones attacking any governor that wants to reopen a state, any Republican governor that wants to reopen a state. And they're the ones instilling fear into the minds of many dumb Americans that don't know any better. So I feel this so-called phase reopening may be dragged on a little bit longer, unfortunately. So we'll have to see what happens. And they're talking like, well, oh, are there going to be fans in sports stadiums anymore? Well, I hope so. Again, these out of touch media people, these out of touch governors don't realize how many businesses rely on big crowds of people to function. Think about concerts, think about sports stadiums, recreational facilities. Think about all these people that need large crowds of people to function in their businesses. Think about all the food service workers at stadiums. Think about all the ushers, the people that collect tickets. I mean, everybody at a stadium. They might be out of work for like 8 more months. So it's ridiculous. Somebody says hospitals get paid more for coronavirus tests. Yeah, I've been hearing about that, and I'm hearing about all these states that are reporting probable coronavirus deaths. I mean, what the fuck is that? And furthermore, if you got something like emphysema or a chronic condition that puts you more at risk to die from coronavirus, like let's say you smoked for 50 years, you're 80 some years old, you got lung problems, you got emphysema, you got COPD, you get coronavirus, and that puts you over the edge. It's listed as a corona death, not a COP death, not a COPD death, not a asthma, not a cancer death, heart disease, not a lung cancer death, but a coronavirus death. When it should probably be listed as, well, lung cancer probably caused that, mostly. There's comorbidities, which aren't being really taken into account. And people should realize that, while no deaths are great, I mean, death is a horrible thing, but it's a good thing that people that are on, older people are mostly dying from this. Let's just be straight about that. It makes this virus less harmful, because if 60,000 people were dying, but a lot of young people were dying, that wouldn't be good. But it's a little bit better knowing that the people that are dying that are at least on their last legs. Again, it's not a good thing, but it's just something we have to be upfront about. Yeah, a lot of mayors. Somebody commented about de Blasio ordering police to arrest large groups. I've not only seen that on the news, but people like in California being arrested for going on the beaches. Again, I'm just surprised at how easily Americans give up their freedoms, like this, and how easily we revert. We just disregard our Constitution just for some so-called security, which I don't even believe that this lockdown has given us any security. I mean, I think it's bullshit, and that's why the Constitution was put in place, to prevent an overbearing government from doing something stupid like this. But they're telling us, "Oh, we're protecting you. We're protecting you from corona." when there's no evidence of that. That's why we have a constitution. And the Constitution, even though there's an emergency, whether it's a war, whether it's a virus, the Constitution still applies. Just because there's a crisis doesn't mean the Constitution is null and void. That's why there is a Constitution. Not for the average times where life is going as planned, but for times like these. This is when the Constitution is especially important. This is when our freedoms are especially important, when government is trying to take them away. Yeah, there's cops in the streets everywhere. Yeah, I mean, there's cops arresting people for stupid shit. And I think there's a lot of sheriffs out there that are common sense. I've seen a lot of Michigan sheriffs say, well, we're not going to arrest people for fucking golfing. Well, yeah, that's common sense. We're not going to send a sheriff to a golf course. We're not going to send a sheriff to the middle of a fucking lake where somebody's a million feet away from somebody. But there's also a lot of cops that I've seen in California, like I said, just arresting people for peacefully protesting or being on the beach. I mean, it's scary. And now they're talking about drones flying around cities, monitoring people's temperatures. Fuck that shit. I don't want to be living in a communist country like China. So I'm sick of this lockdown. I want to get out to, and live life. I mean, there are so many compelling reasons to end this lockdown, and there is zero evidence to back up that this lockdown is actually working. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that shows that it's not working and that it's actually being harmful. A lot of reasons that I covered in my previous video. I made a video, 10 reasons why the lockdown is stupid. That 10 reasons why it should be ended. A lot of compelling reasons, but the media won't tell you that. And these governors won't tell you that. Why? Because they're the ones that pushed for these lockdowns and implemented them. So they're not going to say, oh, I was wrong. No, they're going to keep pushing forward. And their only argument is, well, whether 60,000 people die, whether 100,000 people die, whether 200,000 people die from this, they can always say, well, if we didn't put in these lockdowns, 10 times more people would have died from it. But again, there's really no evidence to back that up, because you look in some of these cities now that are doing antibody tests, like in New York. Like I said, New York City showed that probably about 20% of people had this virus. So are these lockdown measures even working? Nobody really knows for sure. So I am sick of it. I'm tired of it. And I really feel bad for businesses, small businesses, that will not come back from this. I mean, think about all the businesses that, barely get by, that have to scratch by, because that's just how it is sometimes, in business. Liberals don't understand that, that businesses' profit margins are very small, and taking away 100% of revenue for 2 months is going to put a lot of people out of business. I feel bad for all the workers that are going to be permanently laid off from this. All the workers that work for businesses that are going to go out of business and have to find a new job. That's a very tough thing to go through. And the media is really not covering that. They're all they talk about is corona deaths, which are terrible, but there's also secondary effects to this lockdown as well. And yeah, I feel bad for everybody that's going to be. I mean, I feel bad. Of course, you feel bad for the people that have died, and I do. But I feel that the people that are secondarily affected by this are not talked about enough in the media. And I go for my coffee every day. I go to McDonald's usually for my coffee every day now. And every time I drive, I see the signs. Thank you, healthcare workers. Thank you, healthcare workers. And yeah, the healthcare workers are doing a great job. But how about the fucking people that have actually lost their jobs because of this and can't support their families, or people who have built a small business up over the last many years and are going to go out of business through no fault of their own? How about those people? How about we thank those people for their sacrifice they paid for this so-called lockdown that's protecting people? I mean, I feel bad for those people, and those are the people that should be recognized. I mean, healthcare workers, yeah. And by the way, I'm watching all these videos of healthcare workers fucking clapping. I watched a video of them going outside of their hospital yesterday, looking at the fucking planes fly by, clapping in the hallways. Why aren't they working? I mean, that's a serious question. If my employees at my job did that, they went outside to look at fucking. I mean, that's just not what you do on the clock. When you're on the clock, you should be fucking working. And we're being told these hospitals are overrun. They're really busy right now. But when they show these healthcare workers, I see them clapping. I see them not working. You know, uh, just a side observation there. You know, and yeah, they're kind of. You could argue they're putting their lives on the. I mean, I see a lot of comparisons to World War II, which this is nothing like World War II, by the way. So you could argue they are putting their lives on the line. A lot of people, when they go to their jobs, put their lives on the line. There are a lot of deaths in the workplace. So a lot of people work in dangerous professions, but they don't get a thank you. No. Um, Whitmer, yeah, that's another thing. Our governor put out this. Somebody commented, Whitmer, our Michigan governor, wants to give free college to essential workers. That's another thing. Whitmer put out this mandate just on her own. I guess she could do that. One person can make this decision that she's going to give free college, somewhat. I don't know if it's entirely free or whatever, to essential workers. I saw some different headlines and some different articles. Some said some will get somewhat free college, all essential work. I don't know. But essential workers, people who are still working, are making an income. So why should they get free college? How about the people that were laid off or the people that have lost their jobs because of that? Again, we're not focusing on them. We're not focusing on those people that have lost their jobs. Why aren't they getting free college? And I just feel that people are really thanking healthcare people too much. Like, this is their job. This is their job to treat people. And when you work in healthcare, there's always that risk of you contracting a disease from somebody else. That's like a known risk. Just like in any other job you work in, there's a risk. In my job, I do some driving. There's a risk I may die from driving. A lot of people drive in their profession. A lot of people, there's a lot of workplace accidents. So how about where's the thanks for those people? I don't know. It's just, I'm sick and tired of healthcare workers being thanked when there are so many other people that are suffering more because of this. So, all right, I think I'm going to end this here, but I mean, I really like these live streams because I'm out of a job not out of a job, but I'm furloughed right now, so I don't have anything to do. I'm making more from unemployment, so I guess that's a good thing, but I still want to get back to work. I mean, it's fucking bullshit, this lockdown. I'd rather be working right now. So I plan to do these live streams more often, hopefully like an everyday thing. I enjoy them. So, but I don't want it to get too long here. I don't want it to be like fucking 3 hours, but just gives me something to do because I am bored. I wouldn't say I'm depressed, but I would want to get back to work. I'm sure a lot of people are depressed. I'm sure a lot of people are having mental issues because of this. Because you're not meant to sit at home all day and collect a government check. You're meant to get out in the world, socialize with people, and do shit. And that's part of work, right? You go to work. One of my favorite parts of work is I get to socialize with my coworkers. So we'll see what happens with this. But day fucking 45. We were told this lockdown was in place to flatten the curve, which we've done. But apparently we got to keep going for an indefinite amount of time. So there you go, people. There's my thoughts on that.